The one question I get asked most often: what would you have done differently in college if you knew then what you know now? It's the time travel question. If you could go back with all your current wisdom, what would you change? I like to frame it more specifically. What single change to your thinking or actions as a student would have had the greatest impact? My answer is always the same. And no, it's not mind-blowing or revolutionary. It's actually quite obvious. Yet almost every student I share this with nods in agreement, and then completely ignores the advice. Let's talk about why. If I could go back, I would have built more and better connections with my fellow students. It's that simple. Here's why. Simple probability tells us that at least a few of the people sitting next to you in lecture halls will go on to become incredibly successful, influential, wealthy, and important. They'll become entrepreneurs, executives, researchers making breakthroughs, or leaders in their fields. These are exactly the kind of people you'd want in your network down the road. The problem? You can't predict who they'll be. That quiet person in the back row? Future tech CEO? The party animal who barely shows up? Could be running a major company in 10 years. The overachiever everyone expects big things from might decide to change paths entirely. You simply cannot know where life will take your classmates, or you. It's like trying to predict stock prices a decade out. Impossible. The best strategy? Build positive, meaningful connections with as many fellow students as possible. That's your lottery ticket. Now, I'm not suggesting you try to be everyone's best friend. That's exhausting and insincere. What you need are quality connections. Here's how to build them. First, show up where people gather. Join clubs related to your interests, attend department events, participate in study groups. Physical presence is the foundation. I remember turning down invitations to departmental mixers thinking, I have too much studying to do. Big mistake. Those casual conversations could have turned into valuable relationships. Second, be genuinely interested in others. Don't just talk about yourself. Ask questions about their backgrounds, interests, and goals. Remember details about them. When you see them again, follow up. Hey, how did that project you mentioned go? People remember when you remember them. Third, be helpful without expecting immediate returns. Share notes with someone who missed class. Help a classmate understand a difficult concept. Connect two people who might benefit from knowing each other. These small acts build goodwill that can last decades. Fourth, maintain connections through small, consistent efforts. This could be as simple as grabbing coffee once a semester, or sending a congratulatory message when they achieve something. You don't need to be in constant contact, just enough to keep the connection alive. Finally, be authentic. People can sense when you're networking just to get something. Build relationships based on genuine interest and compatibility. The strongest professional connections often grow from real friendships. Building these connections shouldn't feel like a chore or another assignment. It should be one of the most enjoyable parts of your college experience. Think about it. College brings together diverse people from different backgrounds, with different perspectives and experiences, all at a similar stage in life. When else will you be surrounded by so many interesting people your age? Some of my favorite college memories aren't from class, but from late-night conversations in dorm hallways, debating ideas over cheap coffee, or collaborating on projects that had nothing to do with our coursework. These interactions weren't just fun. They expanded my thinking and exposed me to new possibilities. Social engagement is also a natural stress reliever. When you're drowning in assignments and exams, sometimes the best thing isn't more studying, but taking a break to connect with others who understand exactly what you're going through. So if building connections is so important and enjoyable, why do most students ignore this advice? First, many students are focused on the tangible, measurable aspects of education: grades, internships, and concrete skills. Relationship building feels fuzzy, and its benefits aren't immediately evident. You don't get a grade for having coffee with a classmate. Second, building relationships takes time many students feel they don't have. When you're juggling classes, part-time jobs, and existing commitments, socializing can seem like a luxury. Third, it can be uncomfortable, especially for introverts. Putting yourself out there means risking rejection or awkwardness. It's easier to stick with familiar faces or just focus on your studies. Finally, many young students simply don't grasp how important professional networks will become. When you're 19, it's hard to imagine how a casual friendship might impact your career at 30. Your classmates are your future colleagues, clients, employers, and collaborators. The connections you make now will create opportunities for decades to come. If you're watching this now and thinking, I wish I'd done this earlier in my college career, remember, it's never too late to start. Even if you're in your final semester, the connections you make now can last a lifetime. Begin small. After your next class, introduce yourself to someone you sit near but haven't spoken with. Join one new group or attend one event this month. Reach out to a former project partner just to see how they're doing. The beauty of this approach is that it compounds over time. Each connection can lead to others, creating a network that grows exponentially. And don't just focus on people you think will be useful someday. The best connections often come from the most unexpected places. If I could go back and whisper one piece of advice to my freshman self, it would be this. The people around you matter more than you realize. Invest in those relationships. Your coursework and grades are important, but they're just the baseline. What will truly set you apart in the long run are the connections you build along the way.